everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. So if you watched last week's vlog, yeah, it would have been last week's vlog, you will know that I ran into a little hiccup with my stays where I had to order more boning and therefore needed a sort of interim project that I could do while working on my stays. And this is that project. So what I've decided to do is I have had this snowflake tablecloth in my stash for a couple of years now. I actually got it from Goodwill as a potential background for Elsa pictures back when I did my 1890s Elsa a couple years ago, and now it's just been sitting in my stash and I never wound up using it as a background or anything either, but I kind of thought that it would make a cute dress. It is a humongous tablecloth. Like this is the short end of the tablecloth, and then it goes on and on to here. So it is enormous. It has so much fabric. It is a cotton poly blend, and I want to say Holiday Things brand is a Walmart brand, so I guess that would be where it originally was from. But yeah, I got it for like, I don't know, I want to say $4 or $5 at Goodwill, and now it's gonna be a dress. So my plan for this, I've already looked at the how much there is and what I could potentially do. My plan for this is to do a 3-panel skirt that is going to be gathered at the waist but flares out like a little bit. Like basically I'm not going to take 3 panels this wide at the waist. I'm going to probably come into about like here-ish and then flare out to the full width by the time it gets to the hem. And I'm going to cut 3 of those, and then I'm going to do probably a jumper style bodice because for one thing, I don't like the idea of cotton poly on my arms. My arms are more sensitive to like textures and stuff. I always line bodices, so that's never an issue because this is going to be lined with just plain cotton, but I don't really want to line the sleeves. And yeah, so I'm just not going to make sleeves. I'm going to make this a jumper. Also, I need a quick project. So this is going to be another jumper because I have found that they're very, very versatile. I am probably going to use the Gunne Sax bodice pattern for the jumper just because I have found that it fits super, super well. And I've used it recently. So as long as I can figure out where I put those pattern pieces, because my sewing room is a freaking disaster right now, as long as I can figure out where I put the pieces, it shouldn't be that difficult, which is good because I'm about to head out to another like 10-hour, 9-hour, I don't know how long, from 12 to 9:30, 9.5-hour rehearsal today, where again, I will mostly be like sitting in the back of the theater, and I have a 2.5-hour dinner break. And so I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna sit on the floor of the theater and cut out all my pieces. And that way I will have cut out pieces to work with tomorrow when I have my day off. I am tempted to bring my Viking Emerald today, but I feel like that's overestimating how much I will actually do. I do also have half of the stays video still to edit, so like I have some other stuff I can do, and I have a bunch of comments to respond to from you guys on my 1860s deep dive video. So have stuff to do, but I figure let's cut this out as well. So I'm gonna go find that pattern somewhere in this mess. The skirt is really quite easy to cut out, and I'm just gonna make sure that I have my nice shears to cut everything out, and I should be good to go. So I think I'll take the camera along with me as well. In other words, you guys, and you can see me cutting things out on the floor of a theater. So this is our little understudy box where we've been most of the last couple of weeks, and I figure this floor space right here looks like a great place to cut out the skirt panels, and I think I can use the table for the bodice panels, and there is the show in there. So I ran into a little difficulty because it turns out I don't have enough fabric to do as long of a skirt as I want. And of course I had already started cutting the skirt panels. So I'm actually going to piece this strap right here. I have a lot of other different offcuts from like the diagonals of the skirt panels. And yeah, I'm just gonna piece the strap in. So I got everything cut out yesterday, including the linings. I'm using this like scrap sateen that I had dyed at some point and it kind of came out uneven. I'm using that for my lining. And now, since I have everything cut out, including my pockets, which are out of the snowflake fabric as well, I'm first going to attach the little like strap extension piece onto the bodice side front pieces. Then I'm going to flatline all of the bodice pieces, the lining and the outer together, which means just stacking them one on top of each other and then serging around the edges. I'm also going to serge around the edges of the skirt pieces and of the pockets, and then I can do the assembly. I'm hoping to be able to avoid a zipper as per usual because I don't think I have one and I don't want to go to Joann's. So we'll see how far this gets. I know this is like a pattern that I've done a whole bunch of times before, but basically bodice pieces go together, right sides together, and you know, then get pressed. Skirts are going to go right sides together with the pockets and the sides. I've showed you how to do that in a ton of different videos, so sorry that I'm not going to go into detail here. And then this is going to be a gathered skirt. So once all of the skirt pieces are together with the pockets in it, this will get gathered at the waist and attached to the bodice. At that point, I will have to let the skirt hang out for like a day or so before I can hem it or anything, because this does have quite a bit of a bias here. And I noticed even while cutting it that this really does have a pretty significant bias stretch. So that is something I'm going to have to contend with when evening out the bottom of the skirt. But the bodice should go together straightforward, I hope. My plan is basically like once I have the bodice pieces together, I'm going to bind the neckline and the arm size with bias tape. Hopefully I have some in remotely the right color, as in like light blue-ish. And then the bias tape is going to get sewn on by hand tomorrow while I'm at rehearsal, like the other side of it. So I sew on the one side by machine, turn it around, fold it, press it, and then sew on the other by hand. And that should just leave the hem of the skirt after like tomorrow at rehearsal, which I am going to do by machine is my plan. I mean, I don't know, I guess if I have time, I might as well do it by hand. We'll see when I get there. We'll see what I decide. But this is rather a heavyweight tablecloth, so that's why like machine stitches are going to show quite a bit on here because it will kind of compress the fabric, whereas hand stitches will look a little bit nicer. Oh my god, the yard work is getting even worse, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk to you guys later. So a couple things that I had nearly forgotten in my assembly that I do want to mention. I had done these with the harvest dress, but like hadn't really made the changes before then. One of them was that I remembered with the harvest dress that I bound the top of the sweetheart neckline before sewing it to the sides. So I had already sewed one side together and then I realized that. And so I went and started to put the binding on, and then I realized, wait, I also, for the harvest dress, dropped the neckline down a little bit, but wanted to drop it down even more for a jumper dress as opposed to a regular like dress with sleeves and everything. Because like, as you can see from this jumper dress right here, it's nice to kind of see the neckline of the blouse underneath. Whereas for a regular dress, you know, I'd want it up here like where the blouse neckline is. So that is what I did. I went and I cut off actually this whole portion from the top of the Gunne Sax bodice and then bound the bottom here, and I sewed it on the one side, pressed it, pinned it in place like you can see here, and then I sewed the tops of these seams together here, so that way it's already kind of stitched down, and this I'll do by hand tomorrow at rehearsal. So the rest of the bodice is now all done. I'm currently working on the skirt, putting the pockets in the skirt, and then I'm going to put the skirt together with the bodice before I do up the back seam, because that will allow me to put in a zipper if I need it. Like with the harvest dress, I really should have a zipper in there. I went over the whole details of why I didn't in that video, but it is a little on the tight side to the point where it's like kind of difficult to get on and get off. It fits great once it's on, and zippers are weak points, which is why I didn't put it in there when things are like really tightly fitted. But with this lower neckline, I feel like maybe I won't need it, because that's kind of the issue of getting it on and off and everything, and not trying to get makeup all over my dress basically. But yeah, I want that ability to maybe put the zipper in if I need it, which is why I'm going to do that seam last of everything. So I'm going to continue with the skirt assembly right now. Again, pockets are already partially done. The pockets, by the way, they're going on like the side front seams, since this is a 3-panel skirt, so they're gonna sit like around here, and then yeah, I will have the other 2 panels on the back with the seam up the center back, just like the bodice. And I'm gonna continue sewing all this together now. I have all of the bindings on the bodice all pinned down. I did sew up part of the back seam, so I've just left it open at the bottom where I can have it meet the skirt. But yeah, all the binding is done. That's ready to be hand sewn tomorrow. The skirt itself is hanging on the dress form back there. I decided not to sew them together yet because that's going to be a lot more bulk than I want to take with me to rehearsal tomorrow. And also, like, it's not like the hem is going to be ready to do at rehearsal tomorrow, so yeah, it just makes sense to not bring it yet. I could always hang it all tomorrow, and then potentially, if I want to hand sew it, do it tomorrow, or do it the next day rather. If I decide not to hand sew it, I could do it tomorrow night after rehearsal, and then the dress would be done. That'd be awesome. But this is all ready to go for tomorrow to hand sew, so I will check back in after rehearsal tomorrow. So the dress is mostly done at this point. I just need to mark the hem and actually hem it. But as you can see, I think it fits really, really nicely. So I'm super happy with that. I have not yet pressed this seam, so I do think that giving it a little press will help. But I really love where I had dropped the neckline down to. I think it's very, very flattering. Kind of is giving me like dirndl vibes, which I'm totally here for. And yeah, the waistline is looking nice. I probably should have done a zipper, but again, I don't have any right now. I can always add a zipper later. It would just mean like kind of cutting the binding on the neckline in the back, but I made the center back seam in a way because I joined the skirt to the bodice first in the center back and then did that center back seam there. It does make it really, really easy to put a zipper in if I want to do that. And the only reason that I would want that is just that it's a little bit difficult to get like this fitted of a waist over my boobs. Basically, that's it. So it's a little bit hard to get on, a little bit hard to get off, but I think the fit is super, super nice. I'm gonna wear this a lot, I can already tell. The one kind of caveat or hang up to this dress that I am noticing is that this material catches pretty easily. Like even if you have kind of a rough fingernail, it can catch. So I did notice somewhere I had already like kind of caught it and pulled a thread. I forget where exactly. Oh, and then the other thing that I noticed that hopefully won't be too obvious, but are there little dark spots that you can see on the back? Because I had glue on my sleeve board when I went to go press the back seam yesterday, and the glue spots transferred to the dress, and then I couldn't get, like, I got the glue off, but I couldn't get the scar off from that, so that was annoying. But yeah, super happy with it so far. Just need to do the hem and then we're all good. I don't know how well you can see this, but the hem dropped out a lot. Do you see how it's dipping down in where the seam allowances are? So like it is dipping down so much there. So, oh my God, look at that. Look how it's dipping. So yeah, I have some major hem work to do. overall, I am just so pleased with how this project came out. It was such a nice, short, quick project, such a great win after dealing with those stays, or while dealing with those stays, to be honest. I'm really, really pleased with this. I can't believe this was like, you know, a Goodwill tablecloth. It makes such a better dress than it did a tablecloth, and I know that I'm gonna get so much use out of this, especially because it is a jumper and I can pair it with a lot of different shirt options. This one is a shirt that I got from Target last year when Target was kind of doing their whole cottagecore phase, and I love, love, love how this one looks with it, with the collar and everything. It gives me definite vintage vibes, like a little bit 50s, 60s, which I'm really happy about. And you guys have been telling me for ages to just like reuse my patterns so that, you know, I don't have to make mock-ups and stuff. So I definitely think, since I've kind of perfected this like Gunne Sax bodice pattern, that this is one that I'm going to pull out over and over again and probably just make lots of other really, really quick dresses. I mean, I have so much random stash fabric here that like is, you know, enough yards, or maybe it's like a modernish fabric that it will work for a jumper dress like this, but it won't work for, you know, anything historical or anything like that. And so I definitely think like I've got some maybe Disney villain stuff, some just like other fun fabrics. So I think I might do more of these jumper dresses in the future. Whenever I kind of look at my closet and say like, I need another jumper dress, which is a lot. I have a lot of jumper dresses, but I say that in my closet a lot. So yeah, very, very happy with how this turned out, and I cannot wait to wear this all winter. So I hope that you enjoyed this nice little quick project video. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week, with my sewing vlogs like this out on Tuesdays and other random costuming content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below, or you can send me a super thanks right here on YouTube. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Sharon and Mirage. Thank you all so, so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!